Hmm. So, first is, how do you find the journey? What changes have been taking place in life if you practice, if you follow the journey? Can I rephrase the question? Have you put these lessons and the meditation on autopilot mode? So what is autopilot? Is doing something without thinking, without making an effort. Let me close my eyes and do, oh, this is being comfortable, this is the lane one, and the mind is on the autopilot. It does not change. It keeps doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. And after a few months, you say that I have been doing the practice, but there is no change. There is no change. It will not happen. So you all have absorbed the principle awake and aware. I am doing the practice with being awake and aware. So now reverse this statement. If there is no changes taking place, no changes there, I have to reset. I have to think over it that why the changes are not taking place. Before you leave the journey, at least couple of times I have to recheck my own mind. You cannot meditate on autopilot. Be very clear. If you want to put anything in the Eastern wisdom on autopilot, it will not work. How many times you were upset? Another way to check. How many times you were upset, anxious, awfully busy since the last session? Honestly, honestly, I have to reflect. So when you reflect honestly, what do you find? You find the trigger by the impurities moving into the ignorance, causing the pain and the suffering. That is the only reason. What we normally do, I blame you, the situation, and the condition outside. And that, then you know what happens. That is what we have been repeating since our birth. I received a girl almost, 5 days ago. She said, I was adopted, I have an adopted parents, and I want to know who are my real parents. And that is why I have a lot of stress we find in our country. So I said, define real parents and adopted parents. Be very clear. Adopted parents have a different constitution of their body, and the real parents have a different constitution. You see how the thinking changes. No, it is the same. Does a nationality makes a difference? She is very intelligent. She is doing some nursing and completing her nursing. I said, does it make a difference? Why you keep your mind on autopilot? And then the third question is very important, that did your real parents give you this material body, or this material body has come from the world outside? Carbohydrate, protein, fat, amino acids. She looked at me and then she stopped crying. I said that thanks God. And I don't like people crying. But anyhow, when they cry, then what can I do? So she stopped crying. came with one of my student who is doing the private session, and she stopped. What should I do? I said, find out who am I, and stop searching your parents, whether they are real or adopted. No, no, no. Now she has come on a different note that my adopted parents love me, care me. They have been financing me. Now you have to find out what is the ignorance and what is the impurity. We face these situations almost every in our relationship. We create a different situation. We find this situation is causing me the trouble, causing me the anxiety and duality and a conflict. So that is why I said that we have to, from today's session, we are focused on what exactly is this self inquiry. We should define it, we should understand it. So that is why I say we have no right to die before we learn who are our real parents. How do you know that you have a real parents? What is the proof? The parents say, I'm your real parent, so you believe it. So I told her that today when you go home, tell your adopted parents that they should tell you that they are your real parents. And you believe it. The way we believe. Is there any proof? Can I prove? So we normally enter into unnecessary uh, thought process that causes the problem. We don't want to do the self inquiry. It's very important. So we have no right to die before we know who am I. Why our fundamental right is the right to be in peace and happiness. No, we talk of fundamental right in democracy. That comes secondary. That is how the master teaches us. You may say that I'm tired of listening. What should I do? Are you tired of listening me or tired of listening your mind? That is another part that you need to understand. When you're tired of listening, mind is on autopilot. So when you ask these questions, what happens? You become aware of the impurities of the mind. And the cause of these impurities of the mind is ignorance. Another question, how to check if I am making a progress? I have already told you, remember that line. I am thinking and listening, contemplating and reflecting, doing the practice. So every day I find a sense of detachment. So that detachment results into dispassion. Dispassion results into naturally steadiness of the mind. Natural steadiness of the mind will help us one day to get absorbed into the highest state of meditation. And what is the goal of meditation? Goal of meditation is the self-knowledge. I know myself. Don't teach me who am I. One student told me, I said, you were very good. By the way, I should tell you that student, who has been doing for a couple of years, he returned back. I realized that I need more sessions from you because I went very deep and I realized that, I was on an autopilot. So that's why, I started speaking about the autopilot. I'll give you only one reference, $20,000. Did you get it? Do you know it? So the now based on this understanding, we have to ask the question how self inquiry will help us to remove the ignorance. So, when we do the self inquiry, we understand the layers of the ignorance. And that is why I picked up the topic. This beautiful girl said, I want to know my real parents. And be very clear in your head. What is the result of knowing real parents and so called, can I say, fake parents or adopted parents? We are wasting our time. She was very happy. So she said, I will be attending your session. That's okay. That's a different part. So, understanding the ignorance means entering deeper into our personality, our attitude, our behavior, our responses that we make while living in the world, response to a particular situation. How it helps? I will check if I am a seeker or not. Seeker alone succeeds. When I am a seeker, what will happen? That seeker's mind will remember discernment and dispassion, or if it remembers delusion or duality, delusion or depression, non seeker recognizes that I am worthy of suffering. A seeker always knows that I am not worthy of suffering. If I am suffering, I have to examine. What is that examination means? I examine my attitude, my behavior, my responses to myself, to a particular situation, to a relation. Go on and you analyze. That is the part of the self inquiry. Self, not ego. The self with reference to you all, the self with reference to the situation, the self with space with reference to a situation, the space with reference to a relation. Let me go a little deeper because I'm mixing the Saturday session. The consciousness with reference to you. Are you getting it? Ultimately, by this self inquiry, my mind recognizes it goes deeper. And when it goes deeper, you need not to worry about your anger, hesitation, they will drop by itself. And I have repeated many a times. Eastern wisdom, there is no reference how to manage your anger. You remove the ignorance, you remove the impurity. Finished. Anger management means that I cannot get rid of the anger, I can manage the anger. So whenever I have a chance, I will become angry over you. That is the anger management. Are you getting it? Because I don't like you, so I will become angry. And what is the first pair of the impurities? Likes and dislikes. So I don't remove the cause. So just pay attention to it and you just live into that state and see what happens. The mind enters into that state of the wisdom and it becomes another way to understand this self inquiry. Explore. I will leave this 4E so that you can remember. Explore. Explore yourself. Then experiment yourself. Experiment part is the contemplation, reflection, and practice. Experience, then you learn from the experience. Fourth E, can you guess? Enlighten. Explore, experiment, experience. So now come to, when we talk of this self-inquiry, we should know the deeper layers of our personality, our attitude, our reaction, our responses, our past impressions they trigger. Ah, that's a wonderful example to say. So this guy who returned, I was talking about, don't don't think that when the people return, I I see them at a lower or a higher level. No, but how do I see it? He was constantly searching. He went into the forest somewhere nearby. He was driving his car for 1,000 miles. He became like a hippie. So he told me all the story. What happened? He was still searching. I was talking to Stephen yesterday. Then we had one session and he said, what about studying Gita with you? Gita is one of the prime texts. We are also moving towards learning ultimately the basic, I would say the fundamental book, that is Gita. And my mind, not shocked, my mind was, you can say, it was glowing, why he referred the Gita. And then we started the journey on the Gita because his fundamentals are already clear. He can recall that. Now think, how come the Gita, idea of studying Gita came to his mind and we already started the journey? That is known as the blessing and the grace by the existence. And when you are constantly doing this self-inquiry, those things will reveal to you. Because your mind somewhere deeper inside is focused. So he already had a past impression. So he returned and he said, no, I will study. The best part is that he told his mom that mom is also my student. I got his name. So it is not me. Something happens to your mind by the self-inquiry. So ignorance is the root cause of all the impurities, and how the ignorance can be removed by self-inquiry. But before we become a seeker, we cannot treat the path of this self-inquiry. Self-inquiry. So once we understand clearly, the ignorance is the root cause of all my challenges in the suffering, including the impurities, then how the ignorance can be removed? By knowledge, not by any action. If I ask you what I have to do to know your name, if I'm ignorant of your name, opposite of ignorance is knowledge. What I have to do to know your name, okay, go back to your home and drive back to me. And remember, my name is David. So I already know it. Do you see that is what happens. People ask what I have to do to know myself. Now compare this. What I have to do? I don't know myself, so I have to know it by knowledge. And how to get the knowledge? By self-inquiry. The next question comes, what is self-inquiry? What exactly is this self-inquiry? I gave you two definitions. You have to contemplate and reflect on it. And then we will also find other definitions so that our mind expands. One thing before we we should uh, go for understanding what is self inquiry. One master says that ignorance is that which cannot withstand the scrutiny of self inquiry. Did you get it? Ignorance about my real self cannot withstand the scrutiny of the self inquiry. That girl was searching for her identity in relationship to her parents, whether real parents or adopted parents. Why don't I search myself without any reference from outside? Are you getting it? That is the journey of the self inquiry. I should know who am I, not with reference to anything in the world. Why? Because everything in the world is changing. Now understand with the same example that I have repeated many a times why the ignorance which cannot withstand the scrutiny of self inquiry. Why? Too far a distance, you see the mirage water. Now you want to inquire what exactly is the mirage water. You approach near and near and near, mirage water disappears. There is no mirage water. What? Let me go again far away. It appears. It disappears. Did you understand? That is the way the self inquiry has to be. So the self inquiry cannot, no, the ignorance cannot withstand. What is ignorance? I am worthy of suffering. So that girl wanted to move because I am adopted, because I was left by the real parents, because I moved from the Russia to US, hence I am worthy of suffering. So I picked up that idea, and that is how I started questioning. Everything is gone. So that is what one of the great masters says: the self-inquiry ignorance. Now let me reverse this statement, and whatever the statement attracts your mind, keep in your mind. The life of ignorance depends upon the absence of inquiry. Think of it. We have already started self inquiry. The life of ignorance depends upon the absence of inquiry. What ignorance results into? Impurities of the mind. What are the impurities? How they affect and impact our life? By stress, extremely tired, I have a problem in relationship, situation, condition, physical illnesses. We will talk about that later. So, what happens? The life of ignorance depends upon the absence of inquiry. I don't inquire. So, what happens when we are a non seeker? We start inquiring about others. I can tell you my honey is crazy. I can prove it. What is the benefit? Even if you prove it. You see the subject of the self-inquiry. We should be very clear. Who am I? Now go a little deeper. Another master says, do you know the word ignore? Ignorance and ignore. Everyone knows. Ignore. I ignore myself. That is why I live and ignore. Even the ego which claims I am this and that. I am still ignoring myself. Are you getting it? Say yes. When I ignore, I live in ignorance. What I ignore, that is more important. Never ignore the real self. We may have millions of pleasures, but question comes why we ignore. Now, in the self inquiry, we have to be extremely logical in a right way. Why should I listen to you to remove ignorance? So, ignore. Why I ignore myself? I ignore because of the armies of the commander in chief. Yesterday, my honey was saying, one more. I said, no. No, no, it's really good. I said, it is good, but it will do bad to me. Why should I take one more? I didn't take it. I did not ignore myself. How it will happen when I live from moment to moment. I can give you millions, hundreds of examples. Ignore whatever you have and always crave for what you don't have. Sorrow is assured, sorrow is a guarantee, suffering is a guarantee. Well, we are trying to understand. I'll stop there so that you have three different ways of understanding. Ignore whatever you have and always crave for what you don't have. Did you understand? Suffering is guaranteed. And this ignorance can only be removed by self inquiry. Because I'm craving for why? Because I have likes and dislikes and I have a desire for seeking peace. Again, trial, desire. So I have already created an hesitation in my mind, or I have received that pleasure. So I keep on repeating that pleasure. My my life is on autopilot. So I am craving and desiring for peace and happiness from an object what I don't have. Suffering is guaranteed. Sometimes we have a name tag, with, when we go into some conference and etc. event. So it is better to keep that tag. Suffering is guaranteed in my life. Why I didn't do the self inquiry? So whenever you are suffering, remember the tag. I have kept the tag on my. I can guarantee that people notices you. For the sake of avoiding you, people say, yes, I know, I can understand how much you are suffering, but they are not interested. I can tell you. Not at all interested in your suffering. Because people can analyze others easily why he is suffering. But when it comes to us, why it comes to us, ignorance, redefinitions. So we will also discuss about the word self-inquiry, who has devoted his entire life as a monk, as a master. He lived until 19, I think 60 or 70. His name is Raman Maharshi. And by majority of the people who are spiritual in France, they adore him as a god. And he followed the path of the self-inquiry. So there is another yoga you can say, that is the yoga of self-inquiry. So I will just reflect on this in a couple of the sessions before we will move to the Gita. So let us close your eyes and just remain in the mode of the self-inquiry while doing the practice. That will hasten the process, my friends, to the self-knowledge. Eyes are closed. Position of the body, my friends, and 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 they remember no struggle. Why the struggle is there? Only because of the impurities of the mind plus ignorance. Ignorance is the root cause. I will point out to make you understand. Terry will never say, but I'm saying it. Terry says, what I have to do, I have the physical illness. No issue. It's moving, let it move. So, what is the main point? I am not moving consciously. Who is this I? Commander in Chief. Do you move the blood to flow? Do you move the breath to move into the nose, not into the eyes? Do you see? That is the state of being comfortable, my friends. And now again, rise in awareness. I gave a different definition of moving the mind within. Slowly, you look at the neck joint. Who looks? Mind. Mentally. So your experience is sensation, comfort, and steadiness. It is a rise in awareness. How come you say that? Neck joint is physical. Experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness is subtle, or you can say mental. So you can see the subtle with a rise in awareness. No choice. Further, subtler the space. Space is awareness, and awareness is the space. My friends, just so do you see that I'm using the same steps, but we are going, you express in your own way, subtler and subtler. So how come the previous session is different than this session? Because of the subtlety, because of the subtle nature. In every session, if you reflect closely, you will find it is a different practice. No, okay, I'm comfortable. I could see the space, and the space is awareness, and awareness is the space. But in that space, I see the thoughts are coming and going. So we recognize them as unwanted, unwelcome thoughts, and then we label it as lane one. You see that your mind moves swiftly and gently. Okay, it's a lane one. I recognize it. What do you mean? I recognize unwanted, unwelcome thoughts is lane one. Who recognizes? I. Who is this I now? This I is lane two. Are you getting it? I believe you all are getting it. I think that lane example and a metaphor has attracted the attention of everyone's mind, and that is why I repeat it. That is how we also discover how to teach and how to guide in the best possible way. So you are carefree, you are comfortable. Now see that what should I say again? When you are comfortable and carefree, fundamentally you are awake and aware. Did you get it? Another subtle point. It is so simple, yes, for you, not for everyone. So now, in that state of awakened awareness, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, it changes the entire essence and meaning of the mantra. When you are doing the mantra with awake and aware, changes the essence, changes, I would say, essence and fragrance, if I use the word, of the mantra in being awake and aware. That is what people Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Now the mind instantly, because it is aware, it goes to the meaning. Let everyone be happy. Happiness is essential nature of all the living species. Your mind is reflecting. It is giving you the knowledge. Are you not removing the ignorance? You are learning from your experience. Yes, happiness is the essential nature of everyone in this, all the living species. But what to do with the honey? Honey means anyone. Honey is crazy. Commander in chief is still active. You recognize this. And the cognitive ability removes the ignorance. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Let there be peace for all. So now you see that you are, meaning is let there be peace for all, as if you are seeking peace for all. No, but the knowledge within, because peace is the essential nature of everyone. So you are evolving. You are looking peace in everyone. No, who is fighting with me? Yes, he only learned to find the peace by fighting. That is your perception. When? From moment to moment. So what happens? Commander in chief is not active, it doesn't make its armies active. You remain calm. You have to pay attention. Now that time has come. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. You are not fighting with the anger within you. You are not fighting with your anxiety within you. I believe you are becoming clear and clear. This process takes little time, removing the ignorance. Let everyone be completeness, wholeness, holiness. Don't start going into the religious places to find the holiness. It is within us. It is within every one of us. No, but I express my limitedness and incompleteness. That is what the ignorance is. Are you getting it? I express my limitedness, incompleteness. How? You know it. Anxiety, anger, duality, conflict, delusion, depression. Long list. Buy a book of abnormal psychology, find out all the words. Oh, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangal. Let there be auspiciousness for all. I have dwelled deeply on to that auspiciousness. We are creating the mind, we are asking the mind to live into that auspicious moment. Why? To remove the ignorance once and forever. We'll continue with our breathing steps also. That also helps us to purify the mind. Looking deep inside the forehead in the space, Shantoham, gently, and start breathing from the chest. Keep on in the state of being comfortable, carefree. Shantoham continues deep inside the forehead in the space. You are breathing from the rib cage, short, quick, and gentle breathing. Keep on. Check, continues to check the obstruction and the reaction. They all are the impurities of the mind, so that you know we need to do it, we need to continue until the entire impurities are gone. And stop it. Do not think. You know what we need to understand, recognize, accept the changes that is taking place. Who is recognizing and accepting the changes? Who is recognizing and accepting the changes? The mind. Where the ignorance lies, the mind. What we want to change, the mind. Why? So that this mind can reflect our true nature. Tell this to the mind. Mind lives in ignorance. Then mind will ask, what will happen what is going to happen by the breathing? So now we are very clear. Shantoham continues. Start with the belly breathing. Continue. Continue. 3 minutes each. We are checking where we stand, and one day we may go for a longer duration only of one type of breathing. Now stop this. What we do now, we are doing nothing. We recognize, we accept. I can still use another word for it. You'll be more clear. Recognize, accept is a cognitive ability where there is an acceptance of the changes taking place. So, what happens then? We learn from our experiences in the state of dispassion, not in the state of delusion. That I will talk in detail. Keep on, Shantu humming. Now is the time to do both the breathing belly and the chest together, long, deep. The mind will try to dose you. Don't get. Continue. Long, deep, and the hissing sound both into the belly and the rib cage. Continue doing it. Long, deep in the hissing, the body remains steady, and we continue the journey. And now stop this, do nothing. Within that state of experiences that you have, look deep inside the heart. In the cave of your heart, the triangle is there. And you already know moving the mind on each side is first point of awareness. You see that? Now you will definitely understand you are awake and I'm making you more aware. How? I said 3 points of awareness. What are the 3 points? Awareness of the side, awareness of moving the mind, and dropping Shantoham where on the side of a triangle. Another point of awareness is moving the mind in a clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. Be very clear. So when you are clear, and whenever you do the practice, even in my absence, result is the same. That is how we change our life. And whenever you find there is a sink, what I should do, the moment you find it is sinking, singing mentally Shanto and pushing the mind deep inside from the center of a triangle. Another point that I ask you to observe, mind seemingly stops as if no more end of the space has come. There you drop hump and get self-absorption. Cognitive ability again. Conscious journey. No journey that believes in imagination, hallucination. That is why we are progressing. It takes some time, 10 years, to get rid of those imagination, hallucinations, and delusions. Continue the journey. Shantuham. Shantuham means I am the peace. It does not mean I am in peace. I am the peace. Now leave this, go to the japa. I'm going to introduce a couple of more steps like japa. But now the 16 points you already know. I'm reminding you the mind's eye, the mind's skin, the mind's ear, the mind's tongue is saying Shantoham. What it means, you're helping the mind to continue to live within. No, what do you mean by living within? You know the answer. It is a heightened state of awareness or a consciousness that is doing Shanto Hum or Om Shanti, whatever is you like. I said you like. You like with awareness. You are not attached. Shantuham, Shantuham. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Raise both your palms, place it in your eyes, open the eyes inside. Know your experiences, bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences. So we'll go to Stephen. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good. Today, I will describe my experience as I felt like I was an observer of um, absolute nothing. I was just in a very vast space that was just silent. And before I knew it, this meditation was over.
That's really good.
Yeah,
So we need
thank
to
you.
compare. Wonderful. We need to compare the nature and the states of the mind that varies from one situation to the other, in one relationship to the other. and this state of vast space all the time. Then we have to question, can I live into the vast space in the mind in all the situation, relation, and then see what happens? It's a beautiful. Yes, how are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. It was a very simple, free, similar to Stephen. I was kind of looking down on something, and then the body temperature dropped significantly when we went into the heart, and got even more cold as we went through the japa. But very, very free, I guess, is the one word I would describe it as. Wonderful.
Beautiful. When our mind understands, it is so simple and easy. We experience a sense of freedom in the mind. And that is obstructed by the impurity and the ignorance. So yes, it's a journey that continues. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. For me, the mind was focused on the idea that sometimes, I guess what I observe day to day is that I see the people that are acting habitually and then blaming their actions on past, and so they're stuck and don't know it.
Yeah.
And so you say it's the ignorance. And then I was asked recently, what if because we all have in our years, we all have all the gamut of experiences. So if we're attached to the consciousness that's never changing, then we're not pre-programmed by our experiences. We're just present in each moment for the experience. And I guess that's the long and short of it.
No, I got it. That is how I say that one thing we should remember when we talk of attachment and detachment as a negative words, because we need not to be attached or detached to anything of the world that is changing. But what she said, Jerry, you said that we should be attached to the consciousness. It's a good point. So we should apply that knowledge. If I'm attached to peace, that's good. If I'm attached to peace and happiness, which is independent of anything outside, done. But that doesn't happen. Why it doesn't happen? Because of the impurities of the mind. Why it doesn't happen? Because of the ignorance. It's a beautiful way. The more you express, that will ultimately help you to understand what is a revelation. How are you, Sam?
Good. Meditation was very dark and quiet today, very peaceful.
Very peaceful. So dark means positive. Don't start thinking, dark. That's so wonderful. So always, once you are into meditation and after the meditation, reflect on is that what happened? What happened actually? My thoughts were constantly dropping and dissolving. I enter into the vast space or something like that. How are you? Well, thank you, Sam. So how are you, Brandy? You have a lot of stars in your home.
Don't I? They're left over from Christmas. I never took them down. I'm good, thank you. Good morning. So Monday I focused on you saying take it lightly, and today I picked up on the word subtle, so I kind of combined the two and took my practice lightly and let myself just allow the subtleties, and that helped it be pretty deep. That helped it. Something was different in a good way.
It's a beautiful, you combine the two. And if we all ask, what prevents me not to take the world lightly? Commander in Chief, supported by the armies, living in ignorance. Do you see that? When you start thinking, oh, I contemplated and reflected, you will see the result there and then. It's a here and now. That is the power of contemplation. Thank you. Wonderful. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. I just felt like I was in a state of nothingness. I didn't have any thoughts. I didn't have any sensations. I just felt peace.
That's beautiful. So sometimes we don't have any sensation because the mind withdraws itself completely. And withdrawal from the world outside is really wonderful. In that state, when we experience the changes, is wonderful, beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you, Barbara. How are you, Terry?
I had a lot of resistance in the body.
Good.
My hands kept contracting,
Okay.
and I had a lot of like thoughts. So lane one was very crowded, and it overflowed into the other lane.
Okay.
So I felt like something was battling me. I don't know why, but I hope those were things that were going away. That's what I hope. I don't know if they were, what they were.
Yeah, you have 95 and Route 1.
It was like the Holland Tunnel,
Holland Tunnel. But question is, what I have to do with the Holland Tunnel?
Well, it was congested.
Let it be congested. What I have to do?
What do I have to do with that? I don't know.
We have to do nothing.
Wow, I'd like to do nothing.
Yes. So just equate that Holland Tunnel and Lincoln Tunnel with the lane 1, and you are free.
Mm-hmm.
You are free.
I just couldn't get out of the traffic jam.
You are not there.
Not now, not yeah. So,
yeah, that's good. That's happening. How are you, Anastasia?
Thank you. I'm good. It was a very deep meditation. I felt my body as a triangle, and I felt at the end of meditation pulsation inside and outside, very gentle, and it felt as if my body was moving, but I don't know. And now I more understand what does it actually mean to be here and now, and how important is not to lose myself in the past or in the future or in my emotions or gossiping about other people, because then I lose this treasure, this here and now moment.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful because when I narrate and relate my experience with the challenges that I have been facing, is the right way to progress and evolve. And at this youngest, you are the youngest, at this youngest age, if you are evolving, what will happen to your life in the future? Wonderful, beautiful. How are you, Vaibhav? Oh, Ashok has left.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I'm good. I'm kind of understanding this that whenever we have an attachment, then only an impression in the mind stays. As long as that attachment is going, there's no attachment, that impression will definitely go away. So any time of the day, like if something is bothering me, I can check that what is this attachment which I'm connecting towards, and if I can remove that attachment, then that impression will also go away.
I love it. Did you all hear it? Let me rephrase it. Meaning of attachment is emotional dependence because of strong likes. That is an understanding. Now, what are the symptoms of it, of attachment? My mind keeps on thinking about an object, keeps on thinking, repeat thinking about an object or a situation or a thing. So, what he said, when I am not attached, this is the meaning. So, when I am not attached, it means the mind is not constantly thinking, it is not wandering. When it is not wandering, it is clear. So what happens? I have removed one layer of ignorance. That is very important. As you all shared your experiences in a different way, but I'm just summarizing. So when we say attached, no, I'm not attached. No, I have to check the symptoms. Whether I have been, there is a repeat thinking about something, about an object, about a person. The mind returns again and again to that object or a person or a situation or an event. That is very negative. Well, it becomes positive what Jerry said. I'm attached to consciousness. If the mind goes back to something else, you get attached to consciousness. That is that is how the different practices were evolved. Wonderful. How are you? How are you, Sangeeta? We have one more. Yeah, Ashok has left, perhaps because of internet connection.
सर बहुत अच्छा था पर बीच में थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्ब हो गया मुझे 5-7 मिनट बाद पता चला कि शायद कनेक्शन ना हो गया तो पर ओवरऑल बहुत
Yeah, she was doing meditation. After 5 minutes, she realized that she lost connection. And then she returned again. Yeah, that happens. So please, my friends, listen to it, contemplate and reflect, and see that how we are evolving. That is all for today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.